Everybody, this is Address the Sess, the special Xbox One edition. We did PS4 last week because it was coming out last week, and now the embargo has lifted on the unit itself and on two games, two big games. There were some other games as well, Forza 5 and Dead Rising 3. We're going to talk a lot about Microsoft and their new console that has had a bumpy ride on its way over here. Don't do it now, but if you haven't seen the reviews for Dead Rising or for Forza or for a big piece on our evaluation of the Xbox One hardware and user interface at launch, I encourage you to do that. But first, let's just chat a bit and say hi to Nick. Nick, hello.
Hi.
Hi. Nick's saying hi to the internet, so way back in the internet. You want to bring some people in, or do you want to see?
Yeah, sure. We'll be posting that invite to our Twitter and Facebook and everything right now. In the meantime, we've already got questions rolling in from Google+.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes.
Amazing.
And here's one from Google+ that I liked from Dave Donnelly, who asks, will Xbox One's mandatory inclusion of Kinect inadvertently help the PlayStation Eye camera, at least on third-party games?
That's interesting. I assume the idea that if something takes off with Kinect and how it's working, that third parties would take advantage of it. It's possible. Here's where the issue is and why I was always in support of Kinect being bundled with the Xbox One. Developers know it's there. Some people may choose not to use it, but I don't think it's that large percentage. They know it's there, and so they can build games that don't only require the Kinect. Because that was the whole problem we had with the Xbox 360. You could play a Kinect game or a real game. And now you can start to see more interesting, perhaps subtle, integrations of Kinect into more traditional games when it's actually necessary because they know it's available in people's homes. I think the challenge that's going to happen with the PlayStation 4 camera being sold separately is that you're going to have more of that sort of that bifurcation, where you're going to have PlayStation Eye games, or they're calling it the camera, the PlayStation 4 camera games, or games. I think where that could change is with Media Molecule. They are such an inventive, they're such an interesting group that I could see them making that kind of essential game that requires the camera, and if it's bundled together, then we might start to see an install base that's closer to what I think a third-party or a first-party developer is going to want to have to feel comfortable to make a game that really necessitates the use of the camera and is still more of a holistic game. What do you think about that, Nick? Does that make sense?
Sounds right to me, yeah.
Yeah. What do you think of the Xbox One? We've had a handful of them in the office for a while, so.
I think, and this is going to sound really nitpicky and bratty, I think the bumpers are a little bit too hard to press down on the controller.
No. Tara and Zach think that too. It's like that seems to be something. I don't mind them because I think they're exactly where I would expect to find them. Mm-hmm. But I have not played a bumper-heavy game yet. I have only played a little bit of Dead Rising 3, and that's how you bring up your inventory. Bumpers were not used in Forza 5, which is where I've been spending a lot of my time. Also on Rise. They are used in that game, but like I said, I haven't had much of an issue with that. But it is the most dramatic change from the Xbox 360 controller.
Yeah.
No question about that.
The thing is that I'm going mostly just based on holding the controller. I haven't spent a ton of time playing games with it, so maybe when I'm thinking about the game and not the controller, it'll be different. But that was kind of what jumped out to me.
Like you're wandering around the office just holding the controller.
Yeah.
Getting to know it.
Exactly. I want to spend a few weeks first before we get to that next base. Do you want to let someone in?
Yeah, let's let someone in.
Cool. Let's talk to Casey.
Casey.
Hey, how's it going?
Going well. Now, Casey, where are you reaching us from?
From North Carolina in the mountains.
Oh, hey. You're in Asheville?
I'm actually in Cullowhee.
Oh, cool.
So,
yeah, if you know where that's at.
I assume there's like 5 people that live outside of the Raleigh-Durham area in North Carolina.
Yeah, we all know each other.
If you know where Cullowhee is, it's very impressive.
So, are you getting an Xbox One, Casey?
Yes, been very excited for a long time. Actually, getting it from Amazon. Fingers crossed on Friday, but we'll see what happens.
I mean, most of the people I knew that had pre-ordered the PS4 on Amazon got it on Friday, so I think there's reason. At some point tomorrow, you'll probably get that fun little notification. It's shipped. It's out there.
Yeah, it keeps saying 2-day shipping, and I'm like, you mean day 1 shipping, right?
Yeah, day 1 shipping. That means it goes out today. You're going to get it on Friday. So if you don't mind my asking, because there's been so much furor and everything, what made you go with the Xbox One?
I've actually been having a lot of conversations with people about this. It's hard to have an intellectual conversation about it, as you know.
It's hard to have an intellectual conversation. Full stop. Anyway, go
Exactly.
on. It's
For me, actually, I think the number one choice is all my friends are on Xbox, and that's kind of the driver for me. I
Now,
think
are
you
they
should
connected
go.
to Xbox One or are they with 360?
They're moving over to Xbox One.
Okay, got it.
When it comes to exclusives, I'm not really getting any exclusives currently. I want to rent Rise, and your Forza interview or your review actually made me want to actually get it now.
Oh, cool, man.
So, so I might actually want to get that. But really, it comes down to me. All my friends are going to be there, and I use a lot of the multimedia apps. So I'm really excited about ESPN, the TV, NFL Network, and Netflix, and all that stuff.
Yeah, no, I mean, the TV part is really cool how it works. Like I said, I still see it being the most useful for news and sports, especially if, what I cannot wait for is the NCAA tournament. You know, I'm a UCLA Bruin, and I love them, and they've broken my heart for the past, like, 20 years every time they're in the tournament. But what tends to happen a lot is I'm reviewing so many games during March that I'm missing out on a lot of it. And when they were showing the TV part and the snap, I was like, I see exactly where I would use that. My dream is, granted, you might have DirecTV. I can't get it in the building that I live in.
Yes.
And if I could just get the Sunday ticket, yelling at the TV to move from game to game sounds absolutely wonderful to me.
Yeah, I actually have DirecTV, so I'm very excited about that.
Yeah, you lucky bastard.
It's more of that's the only thing I can get.
Yeah. Right. I've got one part of North Carolina you're in.
Oh man, I tell you, it's so bad that even my internet's 3 megabytes. It's horrible.
Well, and that's interesting. So back when at least the rumors were out there about the persistent internet connection, was that a concern for you with Microsoft?
It actually really was, and I'm still a little bit concerned about it because of all the background downloading that might occur. And so I'm kind of concerned. I mean, before where I live, I actually have a lot of bandwidth, even though I don't have a lot of a high internet connection. So I'm worried about that. I'm going to lag out a lot, and that's a big issue I've been concerned with ever since.
I don't think the background downloading will be the biggest issue, only because it might take longer for it to download. That's, I think, probably what's going to happen. But you'll be able to do something in the foreground while that's happening. I am curious when you play Forza, because of the way it's kind of talking to the cloud with the drivatars. I don't know how persistent that is. If you wouldn't mind, like, letting us know what your experiences are after you play around with that for a bit, I'd be really interested to hear that.
Okay.
All right. Well, cool, man. Well, Casey, stay around, keep your mic open. And Nick, do you want to bring someone else in?
Yeah, let's talk to Dustin here.
Dustin. Unmute, Dustin.
Make sure to unmute yourself, Dustin.
Unmute yourself, Dustin. Hit that magic button that does the talking thing and allows the voices to sing.
Hit the red button.
Clear, the red button.
Now talk for us a little bit. Let's see if we can hear you.
Talk. Oh, we don't got Dustin. It's
all right,
there.
We'll leave him there, and we'll see what happens.
Dustin, just look above.
Hello.
Oh, whoa, there we go. There we go.
Oh, the magic technology!
Look at that, yes. And one day we'll be able to put our pants on the first try.
Well, I got pants on right now, so I'm comfortable.
That's good. Dustin, where are you?
I'm from the great state of Oklahoma, which is 50 years backwards in society.
I wouldn't go that far, maybe 10.
Actually, it's kind of true.
So are you getting Xbox One?
I am questioning my loyalty right now to Microsoft because I was this past weekend. Larry Hack, Major Nelson came here to Oklahoma City, and
he was there.
There was a Microsoft store open here in Oklahoma City area, and my main concern was I had a little chat with him. I told him my biggest concerns is, of course, the camera being always on the Xbox. And I told him a little story what happened here in Oklahoma about a couple years ago, that a school bought a bunch of computers for the students, and they secretly installed a security feature where they can hack into their computer's webcam.
Uh-huh.
And apparently one of the students got in trouble by the authorities, and once they learned that the school was the one that they learned of questionable activity,
Uh-huh.
then some major legal issues came, like child pornography and all that kind of normal BS.
Okay. All right. So obviously you're worried that the Kinect camera being always on, it can definitely turn off when the system turns off. That's a setting that's in the back. But are you just worried, like when you're using your Xbox and that thing is alive, that it might be transmitting data and obviously video or pictures of yourself?
Well, it's not myself, because I if I look at my room, which is very small,
Mm-hmm.
maybe about my math is kind of bad right now. Maybe 15 by 20, maybe ish.
Yeah,
I'm not
I'll give you
sure
that.
how accurate. I'm not sure how accurate that is. I'm very poor at math, and yet I have a driver license.
Well, also you are eyeballing a room, so I think that's fair.
Yeah, and imagine having a water bed that takes up a good chunk of that room, and imagine a lot of other junk in that space.
Mm-hmm.
But another issue that I've been known to have is scams, because last August, August of 2012, some idiot who I do not know said that I can get God mode and the ability to carry up to 6 guns in Modern Warfare 3 for $20. And I'm like, dude, this is a scam. So I flagged it, and I commented on the forums, and within a couple days it was shut down.
So how does this relate back to Kinect and the camera?
Well, I am just concerned of that. I just have concerns with the camera mostly.
I mean,
maybe the security will.
I mean, the one thing is, and obviously, the camera is obviously optional to purchase for the PlayStation 4. You don't have to hook up the Kinect sensor.
Oh, I don't, because I'm not for sure what policies Microsoft still has on the books, because
you can unplug it.
They haven't changed.
But I would say you do lose some of the coolest things about interacting with the system because of the voice recognition. But I mean, obviously there was a concern that somehow it could be watching. The way I look at it is, if Microsoft actually did something like that, and that turned out to be true, that would be beyond scandalous. So, I mean, there is almost kind of a counterweight to those concerns, because the devastating impact on the company, if that turned out to be true, and I think we all know, Microsoft is not so perfect in its evil intent that they could pull that off and it wouldn't leak out. I see where you're coming from, but I think the risk to reward there is something that you need to get too concerned about. I mean, my God, if I'm wrong, I will apologize like I cannot believe. But I honestly don't think that the Kinect camera really offers up a level of intrusion.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, this is coming from a person with a slight mental issue, because I have Asperger's, which is a form of autism, and yet I tend to blow things out of proportion from time to time, but yet I am still concerned about my privacy and all. But I mean,
yeah. Well, also there's other stuff in the settings that completely limits the level of video interaction that you can do, be it with friends, be it with anybody, or be it with nobody. So there are. I'm trying to just kind of assuage you, and also I would have never guessed. So you handled the condition quite well. It's definitely set up with an eye towards people's legitimate concerns about how much they themselves or their children want to be exposed to the larger community out there.
It's interesting, too, that they needed to be told that people would have that concern, because originally you weren't going to be able to unplug or deactivate.
Yeah.
You weren't going to be able to unplug the Kinect at all.
Yeah, but with me, I mean, I don't. I have like maybe one game that says, "Oh, better with Connect," but that's Mass Effect 3, and I have yet to play that. I know how awesome that game it is, but
It's not better with Connect. It's
so
better
so
without
so
Connect. It's
so it's better without Connect, though it says better with Connect. So it's just a useless market scheme, right?
Right. Now, the thing is, what's quite different is the degree to which the Kinect is working with the UI and watching television, kind of moving around. Look, it's not essential because you can do it with the controller. I think it's really, really cool. What I have seen in a couple of games is that you have additional functionality that's a little more practical from when you use the Kinect, but it isn't essential. There is no, like, you have to have Kinect game that's out there yet. So, I mean, like I said, you can get it, unplug it, and I'll plug it in, and you would have a functioning console. Same with the PlayStation 4. The eye is not essential whatsoever to the experience.
Well, I really never really liked the Kinect in the first place because I thought it was just a cheap gimmick, and I mean, when I first saw it as Project Natal, I thought it could be something good for dance games or whatever to get people active. But when they're trying to every little tweak to make it more and more better, then I get concerned as this big old gimmick. And of course, I bet you think.
I mean, again, I don't know for a fact. I think that they are aware that they could not implement Kinect in a way that wasn't obnoxious on the 360. Mm-hmm. And so far, I haven't seen anything that makes me just kind of, well, no, one thing. In Forza, it can actually track your head while you're driving the car. If you're like me, when I'm playing that game, I'm going like this, and it was an absolute and utter nightmare. So
I really play race games in the first place, Mr. Sesser, because I'm like very terrible, and I'm like I feel like I'm driving on ice or something, mixed with motor oil, and I believe you said something like that in a review one time. I can't remember where I got that phrase. I just said.
I know I've always said that, like, playing a game like Quake 2 or Half-Life, you know, the way that you move, it's just like kind of this speed skating that you're doing across the world. It's kind of like you're doing that one scene from a Spike Lee movie, but it's at 100 times the speed, and you're doing the floating bit. All right, Dustin, I'm going to talk to Nick and see if we can bring somebody else in here.
Yeah, sure.
That'd be great.
We're going to talk to Kyle next.
Kyle.
Hello.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm great. You?
I'm good. It's so funny. You're looking at your screen, but I'm like, I'm like, there. Hello there, Kyle.
Yeah.
Anyway, you don't have to look at
Okay,
me.
here we go. I will move.
Maybe you'll look into my soul, Kyle.
Yeah, no, it's not gonna work. I have a.
Where are you?
I'm in Canada right now.
Nice. We're in Canada.
Yeah, originally from Toronto. Right now I'm in Thunder Bay.
I bet you're glad not to be in Toronto right now.
Oh, Rob Ford. Look.
Of North America.
Look, I mean, if I wanted crack, it'd be the place to be.
Yeah.
I know where to go now.
I think somebody should smoke Rob Ford, and I don't mean shoot him or anything, but I mean it must be a very interesting high if you just kind of got a chunk of him and gave it a shot. So.
Oh, it's great. Like I just finished watching, I guess, The Daily Show last night. Just the whole thing talking about him. It's fantastic. It's great.
It is. I don't understand why. And this is true with the San Diego mayor who got busted for that level, ridiculous number of sexual harassment incidents.
Yeah.
What is up with these people wanting to cling to power? It's done. It's over. Just go home. Take a lolly. Get the hell out of here. It's just.
Sure.
Anyway.
No, it's.
So, are you getting an Xbox One?
So, I am one of the PC elitists, I guess you could say. Yeah. So, actually, it brings up an interesting point, because obviously, I'm running Windows on my computer by Microsoft. So, I mean, with the Steam machines, launching this year, with that whole deal, I'm actually interested to see what Microsoft's going to do about it. Because, I mean, if any company sort of has the access to sort of, I guess, take some of that market. I mean, I'm wondering if down the line the Xbox is going to support any sort of streaming features, or because I mean, Games for Windows Live was a disaster. Like,
yes.
Terrible.
Yes, it was.
So yeah, I'm curious. I mean, I probably will end up picking an Xbox One.
Now, when you're saying streaming, you mean streaming games or streaming video of games?
Yeah, so I mean streaming games. So I know. So yeah, because right now I bought a 60.
I'm fairly certain they have to be looking into that. That's what Gaikai is supposed to be. So you're looking at competition that's not just coming from Steam, but also coming from Sony. That would be a pretty big thing. I think where it's going to be interesting, and where Sony has a huge edge on them is the library of games.
For
You know,
sure, yeah.
you're talking about relationships from the PS2 and the PlayStation 1 era that they're able to bring those games with. And so I don't know if they can try to hone in on those same relationships that Steam has with a lot of the smaller publishers.
For sure.
I think great places like Devolver would probably get on board with that. But there is, I mean, it's funny. I'm going to sound like and yes, Internet, I am contradicting myself. I'm starting to actually have second thoughts about, I'm not angry at either Microsoft or Sony because I know why, but I usually think that backwards compatibility is kind of a non-starter, especially like it takes about 3 to 6 months of a new console and you've forgotten about it. But I was looking at kind of a library of games here at the office. I'm like, oh man, I wouldn't mind playing that one more time.
I also sometimes I worry that like, because we're in a really unique position because there's just piles of games all over the place for us. But I think for the person who only buys a couple games per year, backwards compatibility can totally be a deal breaker because their library is so small that they kind of they have no choice but to go play games again. You know?
But the idea that I'm a big fan of discovery. I think it's one of the most important things that I wish we could do with games because games cost more money than I wish they did, but I understand they do. But if there's a way through streaming, you can bring that cost down, just like you're seeing with the streaming of movies. That you know, so people could try things out and develop more taste and broaden that appetite. And I think that will become. I think that might be where the future is going to be.
For sure. No, and I just want to really quick add. I mean, for streaming games, I mean, I'm gonna. Here comes the I guess elitist part. But no, I mean, the major factor I'm looking for is because I mean I have my PC, right, and obviously it costs more than a console. Unfortunately, I wish you didn't have to.
Yeah, that is the great irony, but yeah.
yeah, I guess so. But I mean, it's ironic because I mean I end up spending less money on games, I'd say, just through Steam sales. I'll wait a year to pick something up. But yeah, just being able to stream games because right now I bought a 60-foot HDMI cable to go from 3 floors up to my TV downstairs. So
wow.
Yeah, I mean it'd be kind of nice to avoid that and maybe just.
Is there any latency when you have a cable that long?
You know what? Surprisingly not. Surprisingly not. Yeah, it's ridiculous. But I mean, I'd like to have the ability to, the Xbox One could, definitely as a media box. I mean, I think that's definitely where I think the PS4 is awesome for games. They've stressed that, everywhere.
Also, the PS4 is, I mean, look, it's not that the Xbox One UI is slow.
Yeah.
But the PS4 that is ridiculously fast. And it's which is nice. It's interesting. I hadn't thought that much about the streaming of games because Gaikai is off somewhere in the not too distant future. But once again, with Microsoft hammering the cloud in SkyDrive, I mean that seems to be not even just for Xbox, but I think as a corporation, something that they see as one of their important initiatives. I think that starts to fold into the streaming game story. I hadn't really considered that until we chatted.
Yeah. Well, again, it's awesome, and I mean. I think the fact that the PS4 isn't supporting, the media support. I mean, little did we know until relatively recently that it's pretty lackluster as it is, right? I know it's something they're working on, but.
And I think they will. I mean, it's just it is interesting to see what the focus of the PS4 is and where the focus of the Xbox One is. It's almost
they're like polar opposites.
Smash them both together and just have that ultimate console.
Yeah, why can't we just they should just come together. I mean, people say that since grade, they're 10 years old.
Take your PS4 and run it via HDMI through your Xbox One, and then that sort of does the same thing, right?
Exactly. See, now I just need to buy a few more HDMI cables, and I'm good.
I mean, you should have harassed us to send us a photo. I like that. Hey, is this triggering interesting discussions? Of course, it's triggering. Well, I don't know about interesting. I bet it's triggering discussions.
It is triggering discussions. That much is true. We actually got one that feels vaguely relevant from Cooper B. on
What are you talking about? Peanut butter and jelly?
Yeah.
Don't tell me. I need to make it through this year relatively unscathed.
Cooper B. on Google Plus says, does it appear that Sony and Microsoft have switched places? Microsoft seems to have an impressive software launch despite Sony's focus on games and a stronger outlook on future exclusives, while Sony has the cheaper system, easier to develop for, and the blue light of death. Do you think there's any truth to that they've kind of, in a way, switched places?
Really, they seem to be swapping in a couple other ways. Look, the blue light of death clearly is happening. I don't believe it's as pervasive as we once feared because the temperature on this would be going up if there are increasingly more and more cases of it. You know, I'm assuming that if it works, you're not going to get it. I am, you know, God, it's terrifying to think that there could be something that could trigger like the red ring of death, you know, a few months down the line. There are, I mean, who knows what's going to happen with the Xbox One launch, and then that's something that we have yet to see yet.
People on the internet keep saying that like Sony is saying that there's a 0.4% failure rate, and everyone's like, how could that be true when half the reviews on Amazon are saying that it's broken? And I think the answer to that question is
because Amazon is such a perfect snapshot of society.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like if you're
people who use the internet don't trust the internet.
Yeah.
It is the most skewed, demented perception of reality and majority that I've ever. I mean, it's like, oh wow. I mean, yes, I have been playing Rise. I was doing the review, and I almost kind of wish for that level of democracy or faux democracy under the empire, where everyone had to get into a room and yell at each other so you can see how many people are actually representing a particular set of values and beliefs. It's not the internet. The internet is to logic what lead was to the Romans. And it's just no. Anyway, I'm backing off of that.
Yeah, no, but I mean, you're right. Like, the people whose PS4s are working aren't going to Amazon to write 5-star reviews of their perfectly functioning PS4s. They're playing video games.
Sony and saying, fix my shit.
It's like looking at YouTube.
Oh, go on.
Sorry, no, I was going to say it's like looking at YouTube and just assuming everyone's a troll.
Yeah.
Because those are the ones you see.
God, if YouTube is an accurate cross-section of humanity,
I know.
Well, no. Yeah, if you look at YouTube, you know, you would think that America survives solely on tort law with the number of like people getting hit in the penis. So
yeah. Yeah.
So I do want to talk about the exclusives because there is this funny perception that somehow Microsoft is doing better on the exclusives. They have one additional exclusive at launch. Sony, they have Uncharted. They're going to have The Order. Sony has such a good tradition in investing in some very interesting IPs. I think Microsoft is going to go down that path, but kind of like where Sony is with online play, that's where Microsoft is with original IPs, and I'm in more of a wait and see there. So I've been hearing that story being spun, and I just don't think that even the facts that as we have them now necessarily bear that out. Shuya Yoshida would not be there if they weren't working on interesting things. I mean, he throws money at some odd projects. One of them always stands out to me is David Cage's games because they really are not. I mean, those are expensive, and I don't think that they return any profit for what they do, but they are fascinating experiments.
If I can really quickly just say something about Rise really quick, I feel like Rise has obviously got a lot of I think unnecessary criticism, seeing as the game is not already out, especially with the the NDA being lifted the day before.
Tomorrow,
but I honestly do think
my review will go up at 3:00 tomorrow morning.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll see that. But no, lots of people they're talking. I mean, they're assuming the game is going to be bad, and I mean, it's by Crytek, so I mean, I'm assuming two things. I mean, it's going to be a good game and it's going to look great, But I feel like
I've seen it at a preview event. I can say it looks damn good. That was the game that got me into trouble when I had the frickin' temerity to downplay the significance of resolution over other facets of game design. It's because I had seen Rise and did not realize it was not running at 1080p, and suddenly came to a change of mind as to what my eyes can actually read as resolution. I can sense 60 frames a second, but if something's at 55, I probably can't tell. And I know there's some weirdos that like to run around thinking that they have these preternatural skills of observation. But yes, that is where all of that nonsense, which has been an absolute blast to endure for the past month, initiated. Thank you very much, Kyle, for allowing me that segue.
Let's, because we're about halfway through. I think we need to get to a bunch more people.
Yes, let's get some more people.
Let's talk to Dalton.
Dalton.
Hi, Dalton.
Oh, there we go.
Hey, there you go.
There we go. Hi, how's it going, guys?
Going all right. And where are you reaching us from?
I'm from Ontario, Canada, right now.
Oh, look at this.
Yeah.
Canadians taking over address to Sess.
Yes.
I might have to do one of these from the Great White North. So,
yes. All right. So I just have a question about the Oculus Rift. Now, have you heard reports of how they don't think that the current consoles, the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, since they are static hardware, they're never going to upgrade until they get to the PS5 and Xbox 2, whatever you want to go with there. Yeah, if that happens. Do you think that Sony can compete with the Oculus Rift, considering the Oculus Rift is so demanding of a powerful PC and how PCs are constantly growing in the industry right now?
That's very interesting because we all are kind of aware that Sony has something in the works. I'm going to give a quick caveat. I never expected. I think there was going to be some question if Microsoft or Sony would support the Oculus Rift, and it has nothing to do with the technology. There's like a liability issue there. You are in a sensory deprivation chamber when you're in the Oculus Rift, and you might be responsible using it, Dalton. Yeah. There's going to be some idiot who's going to have a coffee table in front of them, and they're going to trip over it, and they're going to break their arm, and there is going to be a lawsuit. So I don't know if either company, if they are pursuing that level of VR, if they want to do something that so completely takes the player out of like sort of their spatial awareness. Having said that, that is a really interesting point. It does make me wonder the extent to which any VR, if the power output, which is probably being pushed to the limit as it is within those consoles, can handle that much more going to a fairly significant piece of hardware like that. God, that's a good question, buddy.
Dalton, did Oculus ones who said that? Because I could have sworn they were talking also at one point about like mobile phones potentially being able to.
Okay, I have actually the quote here. So, do you mind if I just read it off real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
Inventor.
Buddy, you brought a quote.
I do my research, man. I have to do this, man. All right. So, inventor of the Oculus Rift and founder of Oculus VR, Palmer Luckey, stated that the core direction of our company is trying to make something that works on platforms that are moving quickly and that are continuously getting more powerful, and consoles are not those. How do you all feel about that, actually? Just him saying that, like, consoles are out of the picture. We're not doing that. We're just going to stick with the PC platform.
I think the market for the Oculus Rift is going to start off small and probably be small for a while.
It's like the high end. It's the Total Biscuits of the internet, basically.
Yeah, well, and that, PC gamers tend to be a little bit more, they're willing to outlay cash on a more regular basis to keep things going. Yeah. And I think trying to just get that PC market is completely within their reach, and I think a reasonable objective. I think this idea that I have something great, everyone's going to have it, that doesn't always work out so well. Like things that usually go that route are like malaria. Because you want to iterate, you want to have maybe a smaller consumer base, you can get that feedback, you can move forward. So that actually makes a lot of sense. And I know there's probably some people that are bummed. Look, I would love to play Forza trying one of those things, but actually no, I probably would puke. I take that back.
Yeah, well, isn't it like 150 FOV or something like that they're doing, or what was the field of view that they're running on the Oculus Rifts?
I don't know the raw numbers, but that sounds likely.
The nice thing is, I think the ones currently are running 720p. Back to the resolution issue, of course, because we always have to go back to that.
Yeah, it's good. Let's talk about P again.
Yeah, I think it's probably adjustable. I mean, if you have to run it through a console, I imagine that you can downscale the 720p again, even if they bring that up. So.
Yeah, I mean, I know the 720p setting is available on the Xbox One. I'm dead certain it's actually on the PlayStation 4. I just haven't gotten back to check it. It's one of those things that we're concerned about here at the office because some of the capture equipment, it's a tricky mess. Some can do only up to 1080i, some can do full 1080p. So anyway, look, a peek behind the scenes of what it's like to do these videos. Nick, let's bring someone in.
All right, cool. Let's talk to, let's see here, Joey. Hi, Joey.
Joey, it's got a picture of a dog.
Hello.
No, it's not a dog. What is that? A fox with a hat and a monocle?
I think it's a coyote.
That is my future pet.
Can you hear me?
You're gonna yes, I can hear you. You're gonna get a coyote. Can I dissuade you from that?
No,
they're wild animals that are carnivorous.
I actually don't have a webcam. I apologize.
No, that's quite all right. I just want to make sure you don't have a coyote.
No, I do not own a coyote.
So.
No, I own a wolf though. Maybe mix.
Yeah, because those are absolutely docile animals.
Well, I mean, Siberian Husky, wolf mix. Anyways.
Yeah. Anyway,
I'm from Indiana.
Where are you reaching us from, and what's on your mind?
I am from Indiana, actually.
Okay.
We are not exactly technologically advanced. We're a little bit behind.
Everyone's poo-pooing their hometown. Only I get to do that. I grew up in El Cerrito, California.
The most
exciting as a piece of toast.
The most tech I see people using is maybe their iPhone. But anyways, I kind of wanted to ask about Watch Dogs. Ever since they really announced it and revealed it, and showed us the gameplay, it's, I wouldn't say exactly disappeared, but it's kind of done that.
It got delayed.
Yeah, I know it's delayed.
Okay.
That's another thing that's adding into it. Ever since they revealed the gameplay, there's not really been much chatter about it. It makes me worried.
Well, I know that in the press, we were talking about it any chance that they put it in front of us, and they put it in front of us about 3 different times this year, and then they pulled it, which I found surprising, except for the fact that when we were playing it, it wasn't like really integral parts of the game. You could kind of feel like what was most important to the game was off to the side, and they were still trying to bake it. And it started to kind of connect the dots as to what may have caused the delay.
Yeah, I don't think a demo GTA 5 would sell you on GTA 5, for example.
No. Well, it was more. It was out of story missions. One bit that I played was so painfully familiar to Far Cry 3 and Assassin's Creed, where it's like, go to this part, do this thing, and now you've opened up this part of the map. That was also happened to be in Batman Arkham Origins, which is why I said I believe that Montreal was settled by angry cartographers.
Yeah.
Because I don't know what this obsession is with, I need to open up my map. And, but I wouldn't say it fell off the radar. I think they got quiet. I wouldn't be surprised if it's because they were doing some internal evaluation on it. I think the unfortunate thing about Watch Dogs is that I think it had a fairly heavy impact on Sony, a little less so on Microsoft. Obviously, Sony also had to push Drive Club, so they didn't get their racing game out there. But Killzone and Knack are kind of the kind of games they are, and Watch Dogs would have really rounded out that sense of must-have games.
Yeah, it's funny since it's not an exclusive, but that was one of the games that was.
It was almost like a launch title for the PlayStation 4.
Yeah, they had a bundle even at one point.
Yeah, it was a bundle. So it is kind of a bummer, and I think that's why everyone's getting a little bit was a little softer on the games available at the PS4 at launch. Yeah. At the same time, I missed it. Well, no, I didn't really miss it because I was terrified of having to play one more open world game for review.
There's been a lot.
Oh God.
We are a very small team here at Rev 3 Games, and like I have to start to consider how big a game is this to assign it to who. It was causing me curdling stomachs.
What, you don't like it when you need to spend 20 hours a game to get into it?
Where are the MMO reviews?
Exactly.
Yeah, actually, I do reviews myself for a different company, so I'm your rival, Adam Sessler. Competition. I feel just as bad when I get like a 100-hour game to play, and it's like, can I just switch to Contrast? It's like a 3-hour game.
It's really terrifying. It's like, when do I stop? And the funny thing is, I knew how I felt about that game a handful of hours into it. I was like, wow, look at what, I cannot put this game down. I cannot put this game down. But, there's that sense of obligation. I want to play more. And I was more than happy to keep playing it. But then it's like, it doesn't tell you when to stop. It's one of the geniuses of the game. For purposes of review, I could have used an indicator like, you're good, buddy. You're good.
You definitely got that across in the beginning of the review. I love that. that was a good opening.
We've actually got a question via Google Plus that is sort of relevant once again.
I think sort of relevant.
Sort of.
Yeah, that's as good as we're going to get.
Peanut butter jelly.
Just not aim too high. So Matt the Busted Couch asks, what is the most disappointing feature for each of the two consoles, and conversely, what is your favorite feature on each of the two new consoles?
Oh, look, let's put me on the spot. Most disappointing feature. The most disappointing feature on the PlayStation 4 is that it launched with HDCP over games.
Oh, God.
That's more of a professional issue.
So
it creates some real challenges in terms of getting the footage.
Makes your job hard, yeah.
Yeah, I think the best feature of the PlayStation 4, and trust me, there are many good features. It is just shockingly fast. It's like, whoa, hold on, like coming off of what it used to be like when you accidentally were on the PS3 and you hit the button for the PlayStation Store. You're like, oh God, I gotta go make coffee as this damn thing loads up, and I have to back out of it.
Menu.
And then I'm gonna have to make a sandwich while I'm backing out of it. No, it's just fast and wonderful. On Microsoft, my least favorite feature on it. Actually, it's the fact that they didn't see the importance of having that streaming to Twitch. I was just stunned when they announced that they weren't going to be able to have that at launch, especially considering that thing is just already blown up on the PlayStation 4. I think also because I think there's better efforts being made on the Xbox One to really kind of create the foundation for the social. I think having friends and followers is a very interesting idea. It hasn't been fully fleshed out to where it might go, but that really sets the stage for something very interesting in terms of people you can talk to, but you don't want to have kind of all up in your grill and in your business. And to offer the app to watch Twitch, but not the means to watch people playing the very console you're watching Twitch from, is very strange to me. And it was a little disappointing. My favorite feature on the Xbox One, I like the snapping and voice commands. I'm a lazy dude, and it's nice to just tell some. Look, it does what I say, and my wife doesn't always do that. It's kind of cool.
It's the wife you didn't have.
I bet you right now. I have so much waiting for me when I get home.
Actually, in the review that Zach and you and Max put together, there was a little bit about the gesture controls, which I actually honestly almost forgot existed.
I forgot too. I don't actually have terribly steady hands. That might be because I'm old. I couldn't really hold my finger in one place for a very long time without getting absolutely just anxiety ridden. So I never liked all the gesture stuff that was on the original Kinect. It's there. I don't know. I cannot see a single instance where you would use that over a controller or over your voice. Yeah.
Interesting.
Do you see any professional integration from the Twitch streaming? I mean, obviously it's a lot easier now to stream directly from a console, although I'm guessing you still use, your video capture equipment.
I don't think I would necessarily. We have a studio here, and that's what we use when we go out to Twitch.
Yeah.
So we have multiple cameras we can be using. Right. I mean, there's some very nice things. Now, if streaming to Twitch, say with the Kinect, you have a way to move from both gameplay to the camera, and you can. I think one of my issues of what this is going to happen with Twitch is I think you need to lend more personality than just kind of droning over the gameplay, and kind of give people a little bit more of an option to create videos, present themselves. I think there's something neat that might come with it, and I don't think that the technology in either box really precludes that. I think that they're just taking some baby steps in this direction.
Mm-hmm.
Nick, let's bring someone in.
Cool. Let's talk to Yusuf. Here we go.
Yusuf.
Oh, hello.
Hello, how are you doing?
I'm all good. Everything is all good. How are you guys doing?
We are doing well. Where are you reaching us from?
I'm from Montreal, Canada.
Okay, cool.
So,
tell us about the radio towers.
Hey, is 60% of the population in Montreal designing a game?
I think so. Actually, Ubisoft is like really close from my house.
Does Ubisoft own 60% of Montreal?
Let me say, I've made a couple of digs at Montreal because of the stuff that's in those games. I love that city so much. I've been there a handful of times. I have never had a bad time, and I've also had pieces of meat that just, elk and steer. I don't know what. It was elk. I know it was elk.
But it's cold here, though. It's really cold.
Well, no, but it makes sense. That's why you have pancakes.
Yeah, true.
I know.
And poutine.
I'm from California. I am
Poutine.
Born and bred in California, and my testicles were in an abject terror the entirety of the one winter I was there for a few days. So yeah,
I should show you guys a map
of you and your very burly endurance and fortitude to be able to put up with what happens in the darker months of the year. Anyway, Yusuf, I know we don't want to talk about this. Are you getting an Xbox One?
Am I getting an Xbox One? Actually, I was at Target like an hour ago, and I wanted to try to feel the controller, and I couldn't find the Xbox demo, but I found the PS4, and I picked up the controller.
That's not good. I mean,
yeah, I know.
I would have
Starting at its best.
That wasn't good.
Anyway, go on.
So I picked up the controller, and my reaction was, I'm not sure I can say the F word, but it was holy. And it's so different. It feels it's so different. It's crazy.
It really is. It's the grips. I think.
Yes,
That trick is. They're for adult hands, and it's got the weight, and the triggers feel good. No, I'm in love with that controller.
The joysticks are crazy.
Yeah. They had that resistance. I used to always think I hated the DualShock because it put both sticks on the same axis.
Mm-hmm.
No, it was just because the sticks sucked. That's all. And they've completely done a 180 on that, and I just love it.
Yeah,
so have you now changed your purchase decision?
I bought the Xbox 360 first. I have both of them. I have the PS3 and the 360, but I bought the 360 first. Now I think I'm going for the PS4. Sadly.
Wow. If Microsoft is watching, you might want to get a kiosk for the Xbox One.
Well, I'm getting both of them. I'm getting both of them for sure. Right. But I think I'm going for the PS4 first.
All right. A dramatic reversal of decision-making here on Address the Sess. Yeah. This is what some of my colleagues might call an exclusive. Dalton, would you call that an exclusive?
Yes, that's an exclusive.
I thought so too. See, we're journalists. We're part of that hive mind.
We're in that little confined group of people that just know.
Wait, if you got a scoop, you need to call Patrick Klepek back in here.
Yeah, you're right. A guy changed his mind in front of me.
We've got a question from Eric Miller here on Google+, who says, do you feel like these consoles, the PS4 and the Xbox One, will diverge enough over time to justify the purchase of both of them?
We're getting good questions today. I don't know what just happened.
And they all have, like, their O's have OUs. I think it's just Canadian Day today.
Yay!
Yeah, Canada!
Yes. Hooray!
Taking
Rob
over
Ford.
America.
Rob Ford has advertised us. We're good.
Canadian guys who are here on Address the Sess. When's your Thanksgiving?
We already had ours.
You already had yours?
Yeah, last
Cheaters.
month. Last month. I thought you also had it in November. Is it
No,
lunar?
we just have one Thanksgiving. I mean, we could be nice to ourselves and be like, let's have 2 turkeys, but.
Yeah. All right.
No, we'd all just follow.
Gluttony and binging is kind of more our thing than you guys' thing. We'd be more likely to have 2 turkeys than you, I feel like.
No. We're the ones that put ducks inside chickens inside turkeys.
Oh my
John
God.
Madden
I like things. That's more than I can take. What was the question again, Nick?
The divergence. The 2 questions the 2 consoles will diverge enough to justify buying both.
Only in games, I think. Only in those exclusives. I think that actually we're probably going to see convergence as they try to do what the other one is doing. Because there's so much similarity, but it's like, okay, I don't have Twitch, but I have the Twitch app. It's just they're going to look at what the other one does. And I think there are just certain things that are so fundamental to the 360 and PS3 that they could never do that. There isn't those fundamentals are not as divergent anymore, and it should be very interesting. I mean, they both want to use the cloud really heavily. They both want they both want an entertainment experience. Go back to the E3. They brought on the guy from Sony Pictures who, in a very awkwardly way, like he didn't want to be there and he had to go somewhere else. Mentioned like we're planning original programming for the PlayStation 4. I am gone now. So, I mean, they want to do it, and so I think it's going to come down to those exclusive game lineups, and that could be actually a fairly significant factor. So,
yeah, if I can butt in, please.
Yes.
So I'm actually, for this new generation, I'm agnostic. I don't have either console. I don't plan on getting either. I'm a PC gamer, but I've looked at both consoles, and none of the games really... They don't really pique my interest. Like, Watch Dogs was the game I wanted this year.
And that would have been available on PC, too.
Yeah. Wait, that's another reason why I shouldn't really... I didn't think I should get a console. So,
Look, what will be interesting is in the first quarter of next year, we'll start to see, I think, games that might be a little more exciting. Infamous Second Son for the PlayStation 4. I'm very excited to play that. And, of course, Titanfall for the Xbox One. If you look back to the previous, when the PS3 and the 360 launched, they had their less than exciting launch lineups because we all remember Perfect Dark Zero
and Cameo
and Cameo. I can't even remember the name except for Resistance of the PS3 launch titles, and then there was just nothing. It was just a desert.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to start to see those those games for the new console start to populate a little bit faster, and that will start to, I think, give it more of a justification to go out there and make the purchase. But I completely see where you're coming from, Joey.
Interesting Interesting fact just about Titanfall. I was surprised. I mean, usually when you see an exclusive, it's gonna be only on consoles. And I've always just wondered. I mean, the fact that it's on both the Xbox and now on PC, I guess. I mean, do you think there's a connection between Microsoft wanting to expand to that, or you think it's just a publisher issue?
Microsoft is not publishing Titanfall. EA is.
Yeah, it's EA. It's EA. Yeah.
And really, what's most important to Microsoft is that it's not on the PS4, and EA would like. And like, obviously, EA, how much money are they going to lose? If that thing was multi-platform, they make a lot more money on that. So
and they were pretty shocked about that, weren't they? Like that they couldn't put it on the PS4. Some of the Respawn developers.
Yeah, I don't know exactly the particulars there, but that was a little bit surprising.
Yeah. They found out after the announcement.
It wasn't an announcement; it was on an investor call, and so like time and time again, these investor calls happen. It's like they don't think other people are listening. And they say these things that shouldn't have said. So assuming that this came as a shock to Vince Zampella and everyone else at Respawn, which I'm assuming it did, I mean, that's a pretty unpleasant way to kind of come to that, realization. Something must have happened between Microsoft and EA. There must be some money and marketing support coming from Microsoft for them to lose out on what, look, the PS4 of the next-gen consoles probably for the next year will have 50% or more of the install base. So that is a lot of money being left on the table. So I can understand the frustrations. Yeah. Nick, you want to bring someone else in?
Yeah, let's talk to Robert here. Hey, Robert.
Robert.
How's it going?
Going well. Where are you?
Dublin, Ireland.
Oh, look at that. I love Ireland.
Oh, great.
No,
it's fantastic. It's raining, like always.
Yeah, but it works when it rains. It doesn't feel like, oh man, it's beautiful when it's a nice day, but it's just got that. I lived in England for quite a bit. I'm trying to make trips over to Dublin because at least when I was there in the 90s, man, there were more students there than I knew what to do with, and I was a student.
It's still like that.
Yeah,
still
cool.
like that.
Anyway, so are you getting Xbox One?
Eventually.
I am eventually.
Another waiter.
The thing with the Xbox though is that with the media stuff, it doesn't really work here. I mean, we don't really have the same type of cable providers and all this. So we have like skyboxes and whatnot.
I was under the impression that they were altering it to the regions in understanding that obviously it's a much different kind of setup. That you guys have not dug up your ancient streets and laid cable in it. It does not do that.
We don't have a lot of digital media servers yet, unfortunately. We have like the thing which is Skybox, which is very similar to say a TiVo, or something like that. But there's not still. I mean, for online, it's pretty much just Netflix. We don't have Hulu. We don't have any of that stuff. So
I guess I hadn't considered that. Okay.
Yeah. So for those kind of features, it's not really a seller. It doesn't compel you to go out and just grab it off.
So for the media, it's just games for you.
So it comes down to between PS4 and Xbox, and you're just looking at it for games until, maybe something happens in the future and we actually have some sort of proper media devices for it to plug into in the first place. So,
So does that? So how does that affect your decision making? Are you?
I have a pre-order for PS4, but I have to admit I am actually considering canceling it.
Really? Oh. Based on what? I'm just curious.
I have friends in the US, and a few of them got bricked consoles.
Oh.
Out of the 6 friends I know that got them, 3 of them have ones that didn't work out of the box.
Whoa. Okay, I might be recanting on some of our discussion about that earlier. That's a lot.
I could just be really unlucky.
I was about to say, do other things happen in conjunction with you?
I don't know. Maybe I'm just an unlucky friend or something. Who knows? Just don't know me. Just don't know me.
Right. The 3 of them had the PS4's break, and then the other 3 got hit by a bus at the same time.
Yeah. I think. Well, I haven't heard from one of them in a couple of days, so it's either a really good thing or a really bad thing that he's just playing it constantly.
Don't be Robert's friend, basically.
Yeah, don't be my friend.
Well, I think the only thing is, look, I would say take the risk. If it doesn't work, send it back and ask for your money back. You're entitled to do that.
Yeah. I don't know. I just thought it might be a hassle, but whatever. The thing I wanted to ask you was though, with likes of third-party developers now, you have your Ubisofts and your Rockstars and whatnot, and the way that, okay, with the Xbox you have Kinect, with the PlayStation you have the camera and the touchpad. Do you think that third parties are actually going to really develop for those features, or do you think that's just an added cost that they're just going to go, yeah, let's not bother with that? Do we really have to look to the first parties to really use those things to their fullest, basically?
In the first couple of years, I think that, yes, it'll be first party. If we start to see a more dramatic divergence in terms of how many PS4s versus Xbox Ones there are, that could change things. If you start to see that kind of domination that Microsoft had for many years at the beginning of the generation, then if it was the PS4, then expect more touchpad. If it is the Xbox One, then I would say expect more Kinect. On the whole, it's going to be first parties because it's a much lower loss, and there's probably going to be more of an edict to go ahead and do something with that. But yeah, it would cost a lot of money to have SKUs that are that distinct. It's a shame. I really wish there was a touchpad on the Xbox One controller because they love that touchpad so much. I really want that for weapon swapping. It's exactly where I want my thumb to be. And just touch it, it's doing what I want to do back in the game.
If PlayStation Camera was actually had come with the PlayStation 4, do you think that there might be a little bit less disparity? I know there's very different in terms of capabilities.
Yes, there would be a lot less disparity. Yes, I think there's probably a difference in the power and exactly what they can do, but there would be fundamental features that could be universal for games on both of those consoles. And that's why I'm disappointed that Sony didn't bundle.
Do you think they regret it?
No, because really, I mean, that allowed them to say it's a $400 console. I think it was great for them in the short term, and I think they were just desperate to get that leg up on Microsoft, and they saw that Achilles heel and they went for it. But I think it's something that may become an issue 3-4 years down the line if we see some really interesting innovation and experimentation with Kinect.
Yeah, I'm surprised. The camera for the PlayStation is like $60, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so if they actually had a bundle, regardless of the $400 price tag, even if they bundled it, they still would have beaten Microsoft's $500 price tag.
But not by something as dramatic as $100. Look, this is America, and we love big round numbers like nobody's business. Yeah. So it's like, it's a $40 saving. Nobody, we're like, oh, whatever. $100, oh, my God, the war is on.
I'm just surprised they don't have a bundle at all.
Africa in the eye.
This one's $19.99.
Yeah.
I'm just surprised they didn't bundle it at all with any kind of version of bundle.
I thought there was one launch console, it was like the Ultimate Pack, that did have the bundle. But, I mean, also, they downplayed it. When I was in New York last week and I was getting the demonstration of the PlayStation 4, I mean, that was the first time they showed any functionality of the camera, period. I was stunned that I even saw it there because they're acting like it was the redheaded stepchild and needed to be kept in the fruit salad. I was like, quite surprised. All right, really? Nick, you want to bring in one more? Then
I think we have time for one more.
Really quickly, I know, Adam, before you mentioned the controller was for grown-ups. Well, I just wanted to show you the real grown-up controller. There we go. There we go.
You know, right after Xbox changed from the big controller to a small one, I had an interview with Shaquille O'Neal. I was like, "Are you still using the old one?" And I was like, "Show me those hands." All right, Nick, do you want to bring someone in?
Yeah, let's talk to Dylan real quick.
Dylan.
Hello.
How are you?
Hello.
Hello. Dylan, where are you hailing from?
Hey. I am hailing from Columbus, Ohio.
All right. And are you getting an Xbox One?
Hello. No.
No.
But I kind of have a funny story about it.
All right, let's close this down with a good retelling from the raconteur that is
so much pressure.
All right, so I was a longtime Xbox guy. I had the original Xbox, played a lot of Halo 2, moved on to the Xbox 360, and I was really looking forward to this new console generation. I wasn't sure which one I was going to get. I mean, when I first saw the PlayStation 4 announcement, I was really impressed. Really liked how they went back and redesigned the DualShock. And then when I watched the 360 announcement and I heard about all these DRM policies, I flipped the script and I said, I mean, there's just I wasn't sure what my internet connection situation was going to be like, and it was just not a very viable option for me, right? At this period in time and in the near future, for however 5-6 years we're going to have these consoles or whatever. So I made a pre-order for the PlayStation 4, and about a week later, Xbox went back on its policy. And so now, if I was to make the choice, I don't know which one I'd go with.
I mean,
But, I love the PlayStation 4 right now, so.
Well, then let's say, I mean, I would be happy with that. Like I said, I don't think you're going to start to see that must-have quality to another console for a year or two. You know, I think the end of next year will be interesting. Yeah. I don't know how many exclusives we're going to get from Sony and from Microsoft, but I think we're going to start seeing some very interesting games. This whole battle may. I think that kind of shakeout to get those super stellar games. It took a while to get Uncharted 2. And, you know, it took a while to get. Name a really important exclusive that was on the Xbox 360. Oh, God.
Gears of War.
Gears of War.
Yeah,
Halo.
That was still 2 years in.
Perfect Dark.
Maybe it was 1 year in. So, I mean, it's like, yeah. So, I enjoy your PS4. You have something new in your home. Don't sleep with it, 'cause that's creepy. But, yeah.
Wow.
I have a question.
Don't smile like that, Dylan. You're giving me the whip. Oh my God.
I have a question.
Do you see it?
God, I know they put the HDMI ports. I mean, the USB ports in the front.
You know, I noticed no one actually mentioned resolution, and 4K has really been a huge buzzword for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, and obviously PC. But we have games like Infinity Ward being incompetent enough to make a 720p game for the Xbox One, and then they don't even run it at 60 FPS in the main campaign, and then Killzone's a 30 FPS game in the single player. How are we ever going to get 4K on these consoles, or are we just waiting for people to really understand the technology? Because
the 4K
seems really
question,
hard.
I actually don't know if they're going to be able to handle it. I still think that the idea that we're going to be moving to 4K sets in any kind of significant way in the near future is very unlikely.
What's in the near future?
I'll give it like 10 years maybe, but maybe that's for the next line of consoles.
I don't know if that can be fixed by firmware, or if at that point we're streaming at such a level that we can stream 4K. I mean, I have no way of predicting that. I think the thing for a lot of these hiccups, this hardware comes in so hot.
Yeah.
I've heard nightmare stories from developers about what it's like to try to make a title for the launch of a console, that I think these issues in terms of frame rate, in terms of resolution, are going to become more pertinent at the end of next year. Because that's where, now you have developers that have had a lot of time with it, and if somehow there's something with one or the other system that causes those problems, that becomes a little bit more eyebrow-raising. So,
yes.
Really quickly.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, last comment, I guess, for me. It's actually pretty interesting looking at what lots of TV makers and filmmakers think about resolution, because obviously, I mean, it's a big part of that business too. And really, I mean, when you're sitting like a certain distance from a TV, I believe like the recommended one is like a 70-inch TV for 10 feet away, and that's when you're going to notice the difference. So I think
you need to probably a young person like you who has good eyesight. Mine is failing. You need 60-inch TVs side by side, 20 feet away. I talked to I have a very, very close friend who's an eye surgeon. And then that's what they presented to me, is where you would really start to pick up on some significant differences.
I think it just comes down to
have I started the internet again, Nick?
We'll see. I'll check NeoGAF after this.
Kyle, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, don't even worry about it. But no, I think it just comes down to, people want bigger numbers, even if they're not going to notice it. I don't even have a 1080p in front of me.
And I'm going to close out with this. Resolution. Yes, you can have very, very high resolution, but if what you're looking at is a big steaming pile of shit, all you have is a big steaming pile of shit in 1080p.
Upscale.
All right, or upscale shit. Guys, thank you so much. I hope for those of you that are going to be getting an Xbox One that it happens without much problems and the setup goes easily. For those that are waiting, I think that's a very wise thing to do. And for those that already have their PS4s, I hope you guys are enjoying them, because you know what? I'm just looking for some goddamn harmony. All right, guys, this is Address the Sess. We'll do this in a couple of weeks, maybe 3. I got to talk to Nick about schedules. But enjoy yourselves. Have a very, very nice Thanksgiving, which is next week. and we'll talk again soon.
Oh, and also, we'll see everyone tomorrow night.
Oh, yes. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Tomorrow night, the live stream. This should be a lot of fun. If you didn't catch our PS4 live stream, this is a lot of fun. It's a bunch of us hanging out. We're doing it kind of like an old, sort of live television show. It'll be me. It'll be Tara Long. We're going to have Scott Bromley out in the field freezing his butt off, interviewing people.
Not Montreal, though.
Line.
Not Montreal.
Not in Montreal. But probably for California people,
5 a.m.
tomorrow
here.
night will be very, very, very cold. So I'll be on YouTube, and it will also be on Twitch. Just check us out. It'll be great. All right, guys. Take care.
Bye,
Thanks for
everyone.
letting me on.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Adam.
thanks.
Thanks, Nick.
Ciao, ciao.
Thank
Yeah.
you.